we've got to start with you, Ashley. Congratulations. You must be very happy and probably not surprised.
I don't know if I'm surprised or not. I mean, when they canceled the oral arguments, I sort of was reading tea leaves and thinking, well, that's going to go well for us because normally they don't cancel oral arguments if they're going to rule against us. So I thought that was probably a good thing. But it's one of those things you get an email with the docket notice saying, with the opinion and you have no idea and you open it. I mean, it's just like Christmas when, you didn't know Christmas was actually coming today.
Yep.
So it's like, the presents appeared under the tree and you didn't even know there was a tree that was happening today. So it's kind of surreal. The impact of it, I don't think has quite hit me yet, but I'm very excited, very happy.
So what does it mean? Can you give a quick 411 for the non-lawyer audience of what does this mean?
Yeah, definitely. So the Court of Appeals has said that they agreed with us that there was an appearance of impropriety and it was enough that Fani Willis should not be on the case. So she and all of her deputies were disqualified. And so what that means practically is the case will be assigned to what's called PAC. It's the Prosecuting Attorneys Council. And they'll be the ones that will review it. And I've said from day one, if we had an independent prosecutor, someone who wasn't financially or politically interested in the outcome of this case, it would never see the light of the day. It's not a case that would ever be brought. I mean, there's, hardly probable cause. You could indict just about anything. So you could find probable cause in just about anything. But I think if you had a neutral prosecutor looking at it, they're going to say, no way, this is ridiculous. We have other cases. This case is not, it doesn't rise to the level of a crime. And we just don't think that this is where we should be prosecuting cases. So I think that it will essentially die on the vine once it goes to an independent prosecutor. I don't think Fani Willis is going to go away quietly, though. I've already got a notice of intent, just got it on email, where she plans on appealing to the Supreme Court. So the question will be whether or not they even want to touch it. It's a good opinion. So I don't think the Supreme Court is going to have any interest in dabbling in this, but we'll see.
The Georgia Supreme Court. Here is Fani Willis trying to make this case, because it resulted in a hearing, of course, at which she embarrassed herself, about you and your alleged lies. Watch this.
Adam Abadi, I thought, did an excellent job pointing out how dishonest you were with the court on Monday. And I'm actually surprised that the hearing continued. But since it did, here I am.
Did you meet with Mr. Wade and talk to him about the motion that I filed to disqualify you?
On January, this first January motion?
Yes.
I don't know if you could say talked about. I probably had some choice words about some of the things that you said that were dishonest within this motion. But it seems today that a lawyer writes a lie and then it's printed for all of the world to see. When I met him, Judge Reeves introduced us. He handed me his business card. I'm unsure if I handed him my business card, but we exchanged information. He said, if you ever need any help, give me a call. And he walked to the parking lot.
So after that, you started dating shortly thereafter, correct?
A lie. That's one of your lies.
Okay.
Well, that's not how really the trial court saw it or the appellate court saw it. And, you tell me whether you think you're going to be getting an apology now from Fani Willis for publicly accusing you of being a liar.
I don't think I'll be holding my breath for that, and I don't know that I've ever been called a liar so many times. And, I just kept thinking, what is it that you think I'm lying about? Because just about everything that I've alleged has turned out to be true. And if something wasn't, it wasn't not true. We fought over the term cohabitate. We fought over the term whether or not you cohabitated. And that was one of her big things, saying, oh, I lied because they didn't live together. And I was using the Georgia definition of cohabitation that we have in the criminal code. If you spend the night together in someone's bed at their house, that's considered cohabitation under Georgia law. So, that was the big, oh, you're lying because we didn't live together. Well, you cohabitated. And so, I think we were just playing with words at that point. But no, I certainly am not going to be holding my breath for an apology anytime soon. But I can't believe how many times I've been called a liar in the year 2024. I sort of feel like I should try and come up with a New Year's resolution having to do with that.
I think you're good. You don't need a resolution. You've already gotten a decision that declares effectively
Right.
what you said was true, and it was deeply problematic. Phil Holloway, you said it from the beginning as well, that this absolutely is untoward behavior and that you can't have, just so people are reminded of what the controversy was, you can't have the sitting DA with a financial incentive to make the case go on, not because of her own job, she has that no matter what, but because she's having an affair affair with a special prosecutor she brought in who does get paid based on how long the case goes on. He's getting money from the county if it goes on longer. If it ends, he doesn't. And he was taking her all over the world. I said, after that case, I was ready to have an affair with Nathan Wade. I would love to see Belize. He takes you everywhere.
Oh, Megyn, great to be with you. Look, I think Ashley needs to go ahead and legally change her name to Erin Brockovich, because if it weren't for, her, just unending and undying, zealous advocacy for her client, we wouldn't be here right now talking about this. Look, this opinion is absolutely spectacular. I urge everybody to read it. I tweeted out a lot of it, but there's a lot there. And the odor of mendacity, that phrase, okay, which is, of course, the catchphrase now everybody associates with this case, that features prominently in this ruling. Even went into a footnote and
that just remind the audience where we got that from.
Oh, okay. So yeah, the judge said, look, her testimony, that of Wade had the quote odor of mendacity, and which means, and as the Court of Appeals defined in a footnote, they said, look, odor of mendacity means like dishonesty and falseness. Okay. And so this is the type of appearance of conflict of interest. Now, they didn't find an actual conflict, but they said this is the kind of appearance of impropriety, appearance of a conflict of interest that does warrant her removal from the case. And there is no other remedy that will suffice. The trial judge said, look, we're going to cure this by just making her get rid of Mr. Wade. The Court of Appeals, I think, correctly said, that's all fine and good, but that doesn't cure what she did in the past. It doesn't cure the conflict of interest or the really egregious appearance of a conflict of interest. And so it was all of that stuff. It was the Nathan Wade stuff. It was the mendacity, the smell, if you will, of her testimony. And then, of course, it was also all these out-of-court statements that she made where she goes into the well of a church and she slimes the defendants in front of, by the way, a pool of potential jurors. Okay, you can't try cases on the courthouse steps, let alone in the well of a church filled with potential jurors on the case. And so it was all of these things put together that I think made this the right opinion. And it's for, just like Ashley said, the Georgia Supreme Court, I predict, is not going to want to touch this. This case is effectively over. It's dead. It's dying. It's not going to be revived by the Prosecuting Attorneys Council of Georgia, in my view.
Wow. I mean, that's just huge. I'm going to bring Mike in too in a second, but Ashley's got to leave in a minute. So I want to go back to you, Ashley. Did you really believe when you filed this thing initially that it could effectively, potentially end the whole case?
I did. I mean, I thought that it was something that was large enough and something that was deep enough that it could effectively end it. But I knew that it would take some really strong judges to give us, every step we had to win. We had to win a hearing. That was the first one, So when we filed it, it's crazy because this time last year I was writing the motion, getting ready. I mean, I spent the holidays preparing it and, editing it with my law partner, with my husband, and getting it ready to be filed in early January.
Texting with Terrence Bradley.
Yeah. Talking to Terrence Bradley. Exactly. Talking to Terrence Bradley. He was away for the holidays, and I remember waiting until he got back from the holidays to sort of verify all the facts with him. But, so it was a year ago thinking about what's going to happen with this. And I knew that we were going to have to fight. So we were going to have to take every step of the way. We were going to have another fight. We had to make sure that the judge gave us a hearing because we needed that hearing, and then we needed the judge to issue a strong order. And even though Judge McAfee didn't rule with us, he issued a strong order and he made factual findings that were really strong. I'd hoped that Fani Willis would do the right thing, but she dug in. She did the expected thing, knowing her, she dug in. But, so, I knew that it had the potential to completely derail the case if we won at every step of the way. But I also knew that was going to be a really long haul. And I knew that it was going to be something where they dug in a lot and fought vehemently. You've seen how much they wanted to keep this case. But, one thing I want to point out is the more they dug in, the more you could see that they were biased, because these are government employees. If most of the time, if you say a judge is biased or you say a DA is biased, they say, okay, send it to someone else. That's immediately when you file a motion to recuse someone or disqualify, normally they're like, bye. Because who wants more work when you're a government salaried employee? You usually don't want extra work. So normally the normal response would be, disqualify me, let someone else look at it. I feel so strongly about the facts of my case that if you had a neutral and detached prosecutor, they're going to come to the same conclusion. So I don't need to have a personal stake in this case. So when we saw her dig in and not do that, that said all we needed to know. That said, you definitely do have a personal stake in this case.
Yes. I mean, it could have been that she was seeing the world thanks to Nathan Wade's additional money, and it could have been hatred of Donald Trump. Either way, it's inappropriate. Hatred toward the defendant is not an appropriate motivator for a DA. She's supposed to just seek justice. What was your client's reaction when you told him the news?
Yeah, so I got to call him this morning, and getting to make a call like that is pretty exciting. I'm not gonna lie, that's a pretty special moment, and so we definitely had a special moment. We were teared up over it, and in shock, and kudos to him, because I couldn't do it without him having the fortitude to fight. I mean, he was offered a misdemeanor reckless conduct plea. He was offered one of the first pleas in this case, and he rejected it. So he could have taken a plea last September, be done with this, and he had the guts to fight. And he had to authorize me doing this, had to authorize that me. I have autonomy in my job, but I'm also not going to do something like this without my client's approval. And so, I'm really proud of him for having the guts. Most people wouldn't have the ability to turn down a misdemeanor when they're faced with a RICO charge. And so, I was proud of him, and he was proud of me. So we had a special moment.
I feel like President Trump owes him a solid. If he hadn't filed that motion, you were onto this when nobody else was onto this. It took a local lawyer with local connections. I mentioned Terrence Bradley because he was in practice with Nathan Wade, and they had been very close, and he knew what was going on between the two of them. And before he realized that this would all blow up, he told you about it. Things with Bradley and Wade didn't end well, so he was fine ratting out his friend. And then when he took the stand, speaking of odor of mendacity, he just pretended he knew nothing, to the point where the trial court was like, I put absolutely no faith in a word that man said. But that's how transparent you were. You were like, here's my entire phone. Here, I'll give you my whole phone to the prosecuting attorney. You can look at every single text message. I have nothing to hide. But still, you got accused of lying. You didn't lie. You told the truth. And you won.
I know, it was unbelievable, and I'm not tech savvy, so I didn't really know how to turn it over to them. But I'm like, I have nothing to hide here, But you can look through that. I wish that they had the same ability to be transparent. We still haven't seen behind the curtain. There's still a lot of things that we don't know the answers to. But your point where you said that basically this hatred for Donald Trump, I've recently gotten some more open records, which I've just been going through the last couple of days. And the day that Fani Willis hired Nathan Wade, she also purchased a ton of books, all of the books that people had written about Donald Trump and about the 2020 election, for her and her team. So, you can just see before they even had these charges, they're reading books to try and figure out this case, trying to figure out how to make the case. And they're books written about hatred essentially for Donald Trump and his entire presidency. So, I think that just really shows the motive here.
I know you got to go. One of the mysteries is whatever happened to Susan? What happened to Susan? Right? Remember the ADA? She bailed after Terrence Bradley.
Anna.
Oh, Anna. Okay, it was Anna. Right, she bailed when that guy took the stand and clearly lied.
Nobody has seen her again. So, and Anna is a well-respected lawyer. So I sort of, reading tea leaves there, just think that she did what we would call a quiet withdrawal, and just no longer worked on the case, has not appeared since, hasn't filed another writing. So I'm kind of thinking that means that she knew something was wrong and she didn't want to be involved in it.
Me too. Anna Cross. That's right. She was an ADA on the case. Yep. And once that guy, Terrence Bradley, took the stand, and he should have just confirmed, yes, Nathan did tell me they were having the affair. It was going on before she selected him, all the stuff. And instead he wiggled and lied, well, I think. And next thing you knew, one of the DA's lawyers was never seen again. For those of us who have been holding our breath for the past several months, we can finally exhale in the wake of this presidential election, right? Work can finally be done on the major issues that this country's facing, and one of the most significant is our national debt. Look, the fact is our nation's broke, and that debt is a house of cards that cannot be quickly dismantled by anyone. So the strategy remains the same when it comes to your investments. You might want to diversify your savings. Virtually all the experts say that's a good idea. This is why I want to tell you about Birch Gold. So many things are out of our control and out of our president's control that it really can be important to have a safe haven for your savings. Birch Gold Group can help you if you would like to convert all or part of an IRA or 401k into an IRA in physical gold, which is like a hedging of the bets. And the best news is it does not cost you 1 cent out of pocket. You just text MK to 989898 and you get your free info kit. And plus right now you will receive a free 1 ounce Silver Eagle for every $5,000 purchased Silver Eagle coin. Protect your savings with Birch Gold. Text MK to 989898 and claim your eligibility for free silver today. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.